Well, Tony and Mike, again, I appreciate you both joining us. And could we just kind of get an update on where we are right now with the poker tournament and where we need to be? Um, Tony, would you like to take that one?
Sure, why not? Okay. The main things are done. Venue, food, poker company are all in place. That was all in place for the November 5th tournament, and it's all been successfully moved to February 4th. Again, the main reason for the pushback was after Hurricane Ian, several people were calling us up and wanting to cancel because of damage and things that they had to deal with all of that. So we just made the decision to move it back so we would have more players. As far as support, what we need is we need players. Unfortunately, in the past, with 183 players last year, there was about 35, maybe 40 Rotary members there. And of those 40, 10 of them, 11 of them was from the club. We've brought this down from a 10-player team down to a 5-player team. Because people were saying that they couldn't get 10 players. 5 players should be easy. That's $650 a team. And I would hope and expect that our club, with the amount of members and businesses that we have in there, that we would get 15 to 20 teams out of the club, not having to put the pressure on Mike and I and Bob to go outside of the club to bring in players that we know, and having to go to poker clubs, playing clubs to get players to come in, and which puts an onus for us to have larger prizes to attract those kind of people into the tournament. So we need, from the club, we need teams. We do have a title sponsor. The Predators are going to provide game tickets for the first home game for the players, which is a selling tool to get players to come in. Each player will get, I can't remember if it's 1 or 2 tickets to that first home game. And then it's prizes. We need membership to get us prizes, not only for the players, but for the silent auction. We need some silent auction items. I've stood up several times and I've asked, I've given out my email several times. My email has been published. I've gotten 0 emails from membership on either prizes or signing up for a team. So I would implore the board to really start sending out emails, or task one of you with being in charge of that, to go and get members to actually participate both financially and for prizes. When I mean prizes for silent auction items, 3-day condos at the beach if someone owns a condo, those kind of silent auction item prizes. We average between $4,000 and $6,000 for our silent auction. And that's with Mike, Bob, and I really going out and through our barter companies, not just Trade Bank, going out and getting all those prizes, which is somewhat of a financial burden on the 3 of us, even though it is a trade dollar. So we really need membership to step up and provide that. This year, instead of us having to go out and buy all these gift cards that we raffle off during the raffle, if every member went to their favorite restaurant and had them donate 15 $10 gift cards, we would have plenty of cards to raffle off And plus we can add each member or each of the top 10 players would get one of those $10 gift cards. So if we got 25 restaurants to do that, that'd be an extra $250 in our prize pool without having to go out and buy prizes and getting that donated. That worked very well at a few other tournaments that we've put on, and most restaurants are willing to do that because that $10 gift card will drive business to their restaurant, because you're not going to be able to go in and get a meal for under 10 bucks at the restaurant. And if they go out for dinner, it's going to drive cash their way too, which ultimately that's what they want. So that would be huge if membership can go out and get some of those for us. And then when it comes to volunteers, I worked with Bill. We created a volunteer sheet. That volunteer sheet has been sent out to membership. I don't know where that is, but the day of the tournament, with the, we're hoping to have about 200 players. Want 250, but at a minimum, I think we'll end up with 200 players. We're going to need about 35 to 40 volunteers the day of the tournament. Pretty much a third of our membership would need to be there to help volunteer and do things. The number one thing we need volunteers for is to actually collect the money during the rebuys and the chip ups. And to keep it less confusing, I would love to have one person at each table. So, and they just manage one table of 10 players. So they don't have to run around from table to table, and we get through the rebuy quicker and also the chip ups quicker. And, Dick and all of us, we've created a system that we've been using for the last few tournaments that has been working nicely. And I just say, let's not reinvent the wheel. Let's stick with that and go from there. Now, I am also going to have it'll be done by the end of this week. It will be a link connected to the information that Dick provided us, and it will be a link that we can send out, much easier to send out, and it'll open up and it'll allow people to actually go right in, fill out their name, email, all that, credit card, and pay for a team, or to be able to buy 50-50 tickets ahead of time. So the more we can sell that way, the easier it is at entry, and not having to have, basically, 150 people coming in to pay that day for their stuff. So I'm working on that. That'll be done by the end of this week. And I'm looking at your list of questions here. Sponsorships, it's pretty much sponsoring a team of 5 for $650 is our sponsor level. And we just need to get those done. We probably have, I don't know, Mike, do you know how many players that we know of coming from our side? You gotta go off mute, bud.
Sorry. I don't know how I get on mute. Sorry. This is way beyond my technical skill. Anyhow, there's about 10 teams so far. We're having trouble with any commitments from other Rotary clubs. Even when I was doing the stuff, trying to help Danny with all that stuff, no response whatsoever. But, people don't commit to nothing very far in advance, unfortunately. I have about 10 teams that, were all have told me they're doing it. Everybody wants to wait to pay for it for the next year so they can take the tax deduction for the next year. Since we changed it from October. So basically, I have a lot of stuff. We had some left over from last year from prizes. I know we have prizes that we're going to get from the trade bank account too. How much do we have in there? Do you know, Tony?
We have right at about $10,000.
Oh, we got that much? Okay.
Yeah.
I remember somebody else donated some money too. So
Yep.
those are all helpful. The good news this year, we switched up the caterer. And we're going with John Michaels, which they're doing it all on trade for me, but $1,000 of it to cover the taxes, not taxes, but the, miscellaneous stuff, but which is pretty fortunate for us because normally that's one of our biggest expense that we have. We have the tent people lined up, which we still don't have the answer that Corona is going to help us. What are they going to help us in? How much financial are they going to help us with the tent? Because they're actually the sponsor of that. So we do have quite a bit of prizes, but it's always great. I think somebody always gets us the hotels and a few things. I think it's Rich Ongera, right? That helps us get that every year, which is a real blessing. If we just had other members helping with little things, it could be a $50 certificate, $25 certificate, could be anything like a condo. Like Tony's saying, when you just start asking, people know people, and usually you get people to donate. And especially it's a fresh year, so people haven't been donating all year long neither. Because it's towards the end of the year, it's harder because people have already committed to a lot of donations, like almost all businesses do. Is that helpful?
So now we'll just open it up to questions.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thanks very much, Mike and Tony. The question that I had is, in the previous years, we've done advertising outside, haven't we? I mean, we did bring in a lot of people that were not Rotarians, but were more of what you said, the regular poker players, right?
Yes, we typically send out, there's no real advertising. We post it on Facebook. We send out like this link's going to be easy for every member to send it out to, people that they know to drive them to come in. Unfortunately, when you do that, we want to advertise the team aspect, because although we do have room for individuals to come in and pay, and we'll put them together as a team, it's much easier if we sell this as a team. So let's say the other Rotary clubs, their charge for a team of 5 is only $450 versus the $650 corporate fee. So
okay. Well, my question though was more of a don't we have better luck bringing in the regular poker players who do this kind of thing on a regular basis, as opposed to going after Rotarians that maybe have never been in a poker tournament?
Well, that's what Mike and I and Bob do in the last probably what would you say, within the 2 weeks before the tournament, when we're at about 50, 60 people, we do the push, and that's how we get to the numbers that we're at, is by us going to, Mike belongs to several poker clubs that he plays in.
Yeah.
He sends it out to those people, they respond in, and but the majority of the players are, I would say, last tournament of 183 members, I would say probably 140, 150 of them were outside of Rotary.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. So my point is, why wait? Why not just go after those people right now?
Well, we do, but most people like to wait to the last minute. As Mike was saying, most people like now, since we moved it from November to next year, they want to get the tax write-off next year. So we're expecting a flood of payments in January from the committed teams.
Okay, so that would be pretty normal for people to sign up in the 30 days before the tournament.
Yes, it is. Which is, I really think this payment link that we're creating, it's much easier than the Rotary website, than to go to the Rotary website. We got lots of people saying it was difficult to do that. This link is, they just click on the link, takes right to a page, allows them to put all their information in, allows them to choose what they want to buy. It does a total, and then that goes right into the poker tournament account that Dick set up right from the merchant services. So it's
Tony, why don't you do, if the price is $650 for the tournament, why don't you do a link on Friday and give everybody who's not a Rotarian, give them $100 savings if they do it by a specific date, make it $550 for them, And then for Rotarians, do another one that gives them $450 to tell them to save $200. And that'll be the impetus for them not to wait and get involved right now.
Yeah, we've done discounts. We actually did one for the November tournament, you know, September 31, you get a discount. Again, there's no real rhyme or reason. That would be great. We would love for one of the board members to actually take on that task from us so we can work on facilitating the day of. So the last 2 weeks, Mike, Bob, and I are inundated with trying to get players in that we get behind on the preparation for the day of the tournament.
But it's sort of like voting. It's sort of like voting.
Someone to take on creating the PowerPoint presentation with all the sponsors and all that information. It's those basket of little things that we need help with.
Well,
you know, versus been on the
trying
shoulders of the three of us, you know, for
what I'm trying to do,
we've been successful with it and we're proud of it.
what I'm
But
trying to do is I'm trying to prevent that last minute chaos
exactly,
by moving it out now, and let's get these people signed up and let's give them a link for $100 savings. If they do it by, say, January 15th, they save $100 instead of $650. It's only $550 for a team of 5. And then do another link that says, for if you're a Rotarian, if you do it by January the 15th, it's going to be $450 and you save $200. That eliminates that last minute rush you're talking about and that last minute chaos because you're trying to frantically try to find people. That's all I'm saying.
can I delegate that to you, Rich?
No, I'm not even in town. I've been out of town for a year.
Okay, who would like to take that task on?
Who's doing the link for you?
Well, I'm having a link created from the merchant services company.
Okay, well, why don't you let them to do it since they're doing the link?
I'm sorry, what?
Since they're doing the link, why don't you ask them to do a link for you on Friday, $550, save $100, and then be done with it.
The link still needs to be sent out to everybody, Rich. So I'm asking who wants to take on the task of sending this out to the club members, to the other 46 clubs in the district, you know, and get this link out to everybody.
Okay,
That's kind of what I'm asking.
okay, I'm kind of confused then. You give me a link. If you have a link created that gives
Yes.
everybody a $550, save $100 if you enter before January the 15th. Here's a link to save $100 and it's $550 for 5. If you send me that link, I can send it out to every Rotary Club president in all 45 clubs in Central Florida and hope that they will send it out to their membership. I can't send it out to the members, but I can send it out to every Rotary president. You said you have a database. I'm suggesting take that link and send it to that database of the non-Rotarians so that you can stimulate some call to action now so you're not waiting until later.
Yes, I agree 100%. That link we have sent this out to our database already, not with a discount.
Well, it was before September 31st.
What?
At this point, we just need to get the link out there, and the discount, there is no discount for Rotarians. Their cost is a Rotary Club. Their cost is $450. It's not $650. It's $450 to a Rotary Club to get 5 members from their club to come in. Because let's not forget the whole original premise of this tournament 11 years ago, now 12 years ago, was to get all of the Rotary clubs together to come together and play poker for a good cause. This has morphed into what it is now, and there seems to be less and less Rotarians participating, as Mike has experienced with Denny in trying to put that 6 tournament deal together and try a new concept with it, and the clubs are not participating, the other clubs. A lot of clubs, what that was is trying to get the other clubs that have poker tournaments to all work together with one common cause, but everyone has their own mission. Our mission is for scholarships to Valencia, AA degrees. That's what the money from the tournament goes towards, which I think is a great cause. So yes, I can put that together. I can send you the flyers to send out. You know, the link will be made, but I'm not going to have a discounted link made, a regular link made. I'll see if I can do some kind of discount code if they do it by January 15th, Rich, when I talk with them. But
I'm only trying to help you. I'm only trying to help you
link made-
overcome. I'm only trying to help you
I
overcome.
didn't
that.
hear you. I was talking.
I'm only trying to help you overcome that issue of they're waiting until next year. Give them a reason to not wait this year by telling them there's a discount. That's it. I mean, if you don't
I
want
get
to do the
it.
discount.
No, I
that's okay.
understand. It's a great idea, bud.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
but again, it's, you know, all right, I'll take care of it.
You send me the link. I'll send the link out to
I'll
all
take
the
care
club
of it.
presidents.
I'll get it out to our list. I'll take care of it. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
We'll get something out before the end.
I do think you're making a mistake though by not telling Rotarians that they're going to save $200 because it is $450 for Rotarians and it's normally $650. That's a $200 savings. That might be enough to get Rotarians to sign up.
Yeah, Tony, did you have a reason why you didn't want to do it that way?
We just make a flyer. We get the flyer to Rich. Rich sends it out to the presidents. This is how we've done it in the past. And we get maybe 4 or 5 clubs, 6 clubs to join together, and then they join together and we put them together as a team.
Okay, so my question is that there is no reason why you wouldn't want to advertise to Rotarians $200 discount.
We can do that. I just created the flyer at $450. If you want me to create the flyer at $650 for them and show them that they're getting a $200 discount, I'll be glad to redo that.
It makes more sense to me. I don't know if maybe I'm
All
not
right.
seeing it all, but you know.
Or I can just send the flyer to Rich, and when he sends the email out to all the residents, he can kind of explain it's $650. We're giving all Rotary clubs a discount of $450, and he can actually take that task on instead of having to reinvent the wheel and create a whole new flyer.
Okay, that's good. That's good. But when they click on that link, I want them to see $450, not $650.
Right. Can I interject for a second? Tony, are you reading the flyer right now?
No, I'm not reading the flyer right now. I don't have it
Okay,
up.
I thought we went to 400 just so we doing it, but I think the flyer shows all 3 of them on one flyer. Yes, in that way it was structured.
I
So
think we created a flyer that showed corporate, Rotary, and it was just the 2 flyers that we made. For
Right,
Team
and
5.
I think maybe we did it separately, but I think I like what they're saying. They're saying because the other Rotarians, they don't know that it's $650 normally, or even if it's 400, I think it's $650 and 400. But I like what they're saying is because we're struggling getting teams. We're struggling getting, even though we give them extra chips and all that kind of stuff, they don't understand that as well as the financial discount. It costs us about $65 a person on average to be there just for the expense of between the food and the whole facility itself. You know, it's
Correct.
that's how we based it. We know those people are going to spend money as we've been proven before. They're going to rebuy, they're going to add on, they're going to do all of that stuff. And I think I like that idea because I think I'm not getting very many motivated people to make a decision because we put it off and they're like, okay, and they're not willing to give the money. But this might be a greater incentive if we gave a little bit of cash off and some special
Well,
on the.
Unfortunately, the best results we've had with Rotary clubs is when Bob, myself, and a few other, Jim Saul, and a few other people would actually go visit clubs and stand up and talk about it.
Yeah.
Just sending out a link or something to the presidents. Someone's got to step up and make a phone call to that president and say, hey, here's what we're doing. Here's what we're planning. And here's the mission. Would you like to participate with that? And then follow up again in 2 weeks with that president. But just to send out it's a random shot, just sending out the link too, for people to click on it and actually say, okay, I can do this or I can't do this. But when it comes to the Rotary clubs, you know, one of our long time ago, Denny, it was his mission, and he would go visit each club and talk about the poker tournament and leave the information for the poker tournament. And we had great participation in the past. That's why we got the Rotary trophy, you know, for the highest placing Rotarian in the club. And that was the premise. But I've just seen the Rotary members, whether it's our club or other clubs, slowly declining over the last few tournaments. And it should be increasing. And that's just where we need help. I can't go visit all the clubs. Yeah, Jason.
I don't want to be Debbie Downer, but for the past 3 years at least, there's been this tension, and it's been known, or not, maybe not by everybody, because a few do most of the work. Are we able to survey our club and the other clubs of just the overall general interest and having a poker tournament? And would they come if it was free? And if they were, let's just pretend they're given $100, come for free, eat for free, play for free. What's the interest in the clubs? How many people will raise their hands if it's free? Let alone them knowing that it's a $200 discount off of the $600 and it's down to $4. Because my question is, even if they knew they were saving $200 or more, are they still interested? I mean, we're kind of entering the 4th year that I can tell, maybe or more years, I don't know, Tony, you would know better, that this struggle has become more and more. And at what point do you just ask the question if it's the right event to make $20,000?
Well, that's a great point, Jason, and thank you.
That would be something great to do. You also got to understand, we were the first club to start a poker tournament back in 2011 for the heart operations for the children from the third world countries. And then that tournament has slowly grown and grown. And then now a lot of the other clubs do their own tournaments. And that's where I think a lot of it is, well, if I'm going to play in a poker tournament, I'll play in my club's tournament. Now, that's not all the clubs have poker tournaments, but I would say, how many you think, Mike? At least a dozen, maybe 14 clubs have the tournament.
Correct.
And some of the clubs are too small to have a tournament, or some of the other clubs already have a signature fundraiser that they do. I do know there's a lot of poker playing Rotarians. And I do know of all the tournaments that are put on, ours is the more high end, and I'll just call it the best charity poker tournament in Central Florida. And I can honestly say we are the largest charity poker tournament in Central Florida now that we're approaching 200 players. There's not many tournaments that are being put on unless it's you win a trip to Vegas to play in the World Poker Tournament prize kind of stuff that's happening over in Daytona or over at Hard Rock or something like that. But as a charity tournament, we are the largest, and we should be proud of that. And and yes, there is tension with a lot of that. Everyone likes it because we raise some good money for the club, and Dick's report kind of shows by having to move the tournament from the November to this year, the not losses, but the less money that was received. I've questioned whether to have the tournament or not. I will say, from the perspective of Mike, Bob, and I, this is getting to the size where it is very time consuming for the three of us, especially in that last 30 days. And so when, you know, I don't mean to push back, but when we're asked, well, why don't we do this or this? It's like, that's great. Can someone step up and do that? Can someone step up and survey the club? Do we even want a tournament? If our club doesn't want to do a tournament, then, you know, fine. But we do raise, you know, the last 2 tournaments has been 20 plus. You know, the goal is to hit 30,000 this one.
And those 20s are net?
We raise a good chunk of money with this tournament. You know,
Tony, can I interrupt you for just a minute? Because
Yeah.
I think Jason's point, and I understand it, I would phrase it a little differently. Here's the way I would phrase it is a poker tournament is a skill. People that play poker have that skill. They love doing it. There are people that don't play poker. They don't have that skill and they have no interest in going to a poker tournament. I know most Rotarians probably are not poker players. I'm in that group. I mean, I support this tournament because I go there to do the other stuff, but so my point is we should be advertising to the poker players. We should advertise to people that do tournaments and would be interested in this rather than wasting advertising trying to get people in who are not poker players. I mean, that's the way I would look at it.
We
No,
advertise to the poker players. Mike, do we advertise to poker players?
Yeah, we have the clubs. We have about 8 or 9 different sources, including Tony has his own list from there. We have our master list as well. The team challenge is a little bit different from people to understand, so it takes a little bit more explaining versus the individual, and that's the struggle that we've been talking about going back and forth between a team challenge or a single tournament. For example, Sunset, including the 9 people that I brought to his tournament, he only had 38 players at his tournament. And Denny tournaments were running 20 to 24 players, and he couldn't even get 50 players. You need a minimum of 50 players to even start to break even on the expenses. So that's the problem, because you're providing food, you're providing a place. Even if the place is free, it just adds up to expenses. This place is not free. We do have a lot of things going for us. I mean, if we get 150 players or more, we're going to make the $20,000. We get to 200, we're going to make the $30,000. And the more, the merrier. But it does require a lot of work and a lot of help. And unfortunately, the people do not commit. But I mean, it doesn't hurt us to change a few numbers and offer a discount on the dollar amount, because if they pre-register, because I don't think the extra chips and the extra stuff that we're giving has been enticing for people. I think maybe we try just the real money discount, and if somebody's going to do it, then they're going to commit to do it. I don't think it's that hard to get 5 people, and that's what our goal was, to get 10 or 12 Rotary clubs with 5 people, which is 60 people. We're a third of the way there on the number that we want to be with the support of them. But it doesn't seem that very many of the Rotarians are being very supportive. What I've seen with other different things, maybe it's just Denny, maybe it's his lack of advertisement. I'm not sure what happened. I mean, even when I reached out to different people, but even with Sunset, I helped them with their tournament, and basically there was a disappointing amount of people there. He had like 20 lawyers there, because they're all lawyers at that Rotarian, but it was really surprising them. And there was like 10 players that has never played poker before out of 40. That's a pretty high percentage.
wow, that surprises me. Yeah, that surprises
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. I mean, they were
It's
lawyer
okay
buddies.
if you don't, sorry.
Yeah, they were attorney buddies. I met 3 or 4 of them, invited them in this. I have their names and numbers. Some of these things I go there for that very reason, So basically, those are all great things. I mean, it doesn't take but a couple clicks of the buttons to change it. It's still to getting it out there. And I think we can try that. I think if we make the price cheap enough that they'll expect to spend some money there, maybe we try that, because we're a little bit behind the 8 ball and the committed people to play. And after helping Denny and Sunset, I'm really nervous of the amount of people, because we have to get 100 to 150 players to make money.
Mike, I wanted you to know that a few weeks ago, I got a link for a poker tournament from Denny that said that the tournament was going to be tomorrow. And I said to him, if you would have sent this out, a few weeks ago, and you would have sent it out maybe 3 times before tomorrow is the tournament, if you would have sent it out 3 times already, you would have probably got a better response. And his response was that, well, I had nothing to do with it. I'm just doing what they asked me to do. That's not my point. My point is people who play poker do want to plan more than tomorrow. And
Correct.
so if you
Oh,
give them an
yes.
incentive to do it now by a specific date and give them a discount, I think what you've done by going from 10 to 5 in a team is a terrific idea. I think that'll be much better to get a team of 5 than it was to get a team of 10. But if you give them a financial incentive and you do it now, you may not be having that last minute chaos of trying to call people and begging people to come if you give them a discount by a specific date. And then also, by the way, 2 days before the end of that date. So if it's you got to do it by January, by the end of, let's say the end of January, you've got to be able to, the discount is over. 2 days before that's over, send it out again. 2 more days. You got 2 days left before you lose the discount. That's what you do to market any kind of an event to people who play. That's it. I said to Denny, that's blinding flash of the obvious. That's common sense. I just don't know why they call it common sense, because frankly, it ain't that common.
I know. I agree with you. I like this idea. We can make all this work. You think the deadline should be the 15th or the 10th?
Well, I don't care. If the event is on February the 4th, make the deadline January 4th or whatever, or do it 2 weeks ahead of time, whatever. But I'm trying to avoid that last minute chaos I know you guys go through every time you do one.
Well, we'll definitely do that. I mean, I think that's a good idea. What do you think, Tony?
I love it, but again, our group, the non-Rotarian group, if we get 150 or if we just get 100, we still got to supplement. And I guess ultimately what I'm saying is, even though Rotarians don't like poker, don't know how to play poker, don't know this, as organized as you're telling us to send out this link to our people, Rich, the same thing has to happen with the Rotarians and the clubs and stuff like that.
I got it.
The difference, those extra 50, 60, 70 players, I would love to see 100 players from Rotary, different Rotary clubs there. But that's the difference between 20,000 and 30,000.
I got it, but I'm just saying to you though, that there are 1,550 Rotarians in Central Florida. I think there's plenty of opportunity there for them who do want to play poker to play, but they don't know about this. And if you don't send anything out, they're never going to know about this. And it's going to be a secret tournament. That's all I'm saying is I can send it out to the club presidents. I can't send it out to Rotarians because they've stopped me from doing that. We did a golf tournament here a couple of years ago, and I sent it out to 1,600 Rotarians. We filled up the whole golf tournament in 90 minutes. But then Rotary, the district, stopped me from doing that because somebody in the villages was upset that they got a solicitation for a golf tournament. So now I can't do anything except club presidents, but I can send it out to club presidents. And hopefully I can send it to the club presidents. I can include the president-elect, and I can include the club secretary. That's as low as I can go, but I can send it out to all 45 clubs. If you send me the link, I'd be glad to send that out. Even though I am in South Carolina and I'm out of town for a year, I can do that anywhere. But you got to send me the link, and you got to send me a link enough time to be able to start sending it out, a month ahead of time and whatever, to be able to get that message across. And if you give me a cash discount to do, now I got a call to action that'll make a difference for those people that know they can save money because they play poker anyway. So here's a chance to save 100 or 200 bucks. Why not do it? Just give me 4 friends. I'll put together a team of 5 and I'll click on the link and I'll be done.
Was the tournament not open to all other Rotary clubs in the past?
We've always we've always tried to send it out to all 47 clubs. Now there's only 45. We tried to send it out to all 47 clubs, but we could never send it to the membership. We could only send it to the leadership.
Right, but for all the past poker tournaments we've had, all of the clubs had been invited.
Yes.
And so it hasn't been done. So is that why we're thinking the number of participants or interest now is low? Or are we thinking sending it out to everybody is a new thing?
No, we're
Because it's
saying
not new.
now, we're saying now, Jason, is we want to, I'm suggesting we do both. Don't focus on just Rotarians or non-Rotarians. Focus on everybody. Let's try to get to 250. Whether they're Rotarians or not Rotarians, I don't think that Tony cares. I just think he wants 250 players. We'd love to have Rotarians.
That's it.
We just want
That's
people to
it.
play
But
poker.
no, one side or the other side won't hit the 250. It's got
I
to
know.
be combined, and it can't be the system.
We've not followed, Jason, to answer your question, in the past with Rotary, an email sent out to the presidents, and it's not, maybe a second email is sent out to the presidents. In the past, we would physically go to the clubs, have breakfast or lunch, and talk about the tournament and get people engaged with it and have people come up. And that's where we had our most. When we physically went to the clubs, we had, out of 100 players, that's really how we built up to get to our 100 players. The very first tournament that we had was 68 players. Like 45 of them were Rotarians. Maybe 50 of them were Rotarians. That's how it all started. But that number increased the first 5-6 years. But yes, the last 4 or 5 years, it's declined. And I don't know what to do to get that number back up. There's a lot, out of 1,000 Rotarians, there got to be at least 100 poker players, avid poker players there. And maybe it's going and everyone doing a week at another club, and reaching out to membership to do that. I'll go to a club, but I can't go to 45 clubs.
Well,
I'll
you don't need to, you really
go to
don't
about
need
10
to.
to 15 clubs before the tournament. I know
You-
Bob and Ollie and Jim would all go to other clubs and promote the tournament. So that's enough of that. I'll get the link done. I'll get it to you, Dick, and excuse me, Rich, and I will let you handle the Rotary side.
Sure. I will tell you
Handle
this.
the poker side with the
Just-
different organizations that we have and the lists that we have.
Just so you know, just so you all know, there are probably 10 clubs in the district that are large clubs that have over 60 members. And those are the ones you want to go to.
Correct.
You don't want to go to 45 clubs, but there are large clubs that you can go to. And, I can tell you the last time I went out to Rotary clubs was with Roger Jacobson in 2013.
Yeah.
When we were doing poker tournaments, and we only went to the large clubs and we gave them the flyers. We told them we were going to do that. I don't ever remember having a scramble trying to find people to come to the club when we did that. Tony's right. If you go out there one-on-one, you present the flyers to them and do that, that's fine. But I don't know that we've ever, not the last 5-7 years, I've never heard of anybody going out to Rotary clubs. Maybe Denny did it, but that would have been a long time
I
ago.
always go to clubs and visit clubs. I will visit probably 4 or 5 clubs up here. I'll visit Lake Mary. I'll visit Sanford. I'll visit all the clubs up
Yeah.
here in Seminole County
Where I live, and I will go have lunch there. I see a lot of these members at the chamber events, but all right. So I guess the big thing from this is Mike and I will take care of non-Rotary members. We always do, and we always seem to get a good number of people. We had 181 or 83 players at the last tournament. I'd like to break 200 this year. I would like to max out at 250. That's the maximum we can hold at the Fraternal Order of Police.
Tony, do you need any help putting together a flyer or anything like that?
I have, now there's a flyer and there's a poster. Corona usually makes a poster for us that we hang up, but we usually get that like 10 days before the tournament.
They're working on it now.
Flyers are already made. I've sent out flyers to Rich, to Bill, for both the corporate side and the Rotary side. I will resend those 2 flyers out, and I will take off the extra chip incentive, and I will add, if you pay by January 15th, you will get $100 discount off your team instead of doing, because typically we do, you get an extra $2,500 chips per player if you pay ahead of time, trying to maximize the dollar. So I will change that one line on the flyer and then resend those out to show a discount. Now, do we want to take the Rotary one from $450 to $350? That's just putting us at about break even for a cost per player.
I think you're good with $200.
Average is,
Yeah, I do too.
I
Yeah.
mean,
I
even
don't
if
see a
we gave
reason to
everyone to
drop it.
come in and play for free, and we got 250 free players to come in, and we had sponsors that would cover our hard expenses, and we went into the tournament owing nothing, and we had 250 free players, we would still probably make about $22,000 to $26,000, because the average person will rebuy and spend $100 at a tournament. So we give away, we'll end up at the end if we're sitting at 180 players, we'll give away 20 seats, 30 seats, just because we know that'll bring in another $2,000 to $3,000.
Just because I want to answer,
I'd rather have someone playing in a seat, especially if we've committed to the tables. That's the other thing. How many are we committing to this year, Mike? 20?
I did 12 and 5, 17.
So
I can
17.
I can
and we'll
add
have
to it.
up to 3 extras that we can bring on. But if that's knowing those numbers to say, hey, we need more tables, because there's nothing worse than paying for 25 tables and we only have 200 players, and we have to pay for those 5 tables.
Yeah, I totally get that. It's once you get your expenses covered, it would be worthwhile to let people in for free just to fill the seats up, because you're going to get people.
David, just to answer your question though, David, the last time we did this, Tony gave me a flyer and I got the flyer, but there was no link on the flyer. And this time he's got a link. So this time he's gone down from 10 to 5 and he's got a link, which we didn't have last time.
Great.
So I
The
think
link
with
on the flyer, Rich, was the Rotary Club of Orlando's website to go pay.
yeah, I know,
For people to go to and go pay. It
I
was
know.
the Rotary Club of Orlando website.
I know, and it was extremely difficult to do it anyway, because the website was not designed to be able to do this, even though we created this website to do poker tournaments. And it didn't do it. But now you're giving me a link for them to go, and that's really all you need. Just give me the flyer with a link, and I'll focus on getting all 45 Rotary clubs, and I'll continue to give them invite after invite after invite, showing them the discount and pulling a team together for each of their Rotary clubs, and hit the link and sign up a team for 5. That's
Yeah,
the
and
best we can do.
I'll share that I could, granted, it's pretty much the end of the year already. Where you have the meeting Thursday and then nothing, and then all of a sudden you're in January, but I could commit to at least getting to 4 or 5 clubs in time in January to get it done before the February 4th to at least promote it. If
Excellent.
somebody gave me the right clubs to go to and contacts and all that stuff.
So, Tony, can you get that flyer over either to Rich or Tammy, and then they can distribute it to us if we need it?
Make sure Bill gets it.
Yes.
Okay.
Tony,
Yes.
I need it
This-
too to be able to give out.
this idea is like.
I'm gonna
game.
send it to Rich and to Tammy, and then I don't have everybody's email. I'll let them send it to the whole board, because I'm sure she has a board email set up there where it goes to everybody.
Yeah,
I'll
Rich
send,
and
I'll
Tammy.
send it, I'll send it to Bill, and I'll send it to all of our members.
Yeah, so we can get that out, and then we'll start working on that. What I'd suggest, Tony, is we should start having regular meetings on this too, between now and the tournament, just so that we can keep everybody all on the same page, so to speak. Would you be willing to do that? Maybe just have a Zoom meeting every week or
I
so?
would love to do that, not just with the board, but I would love to do that with the volunteer sheet that I set up with Bill. The people that are in charge of each aspect of the tournament, and have those committee meetings. That was always the dream, is to be able to have committee meetings, right, Mike? And have a group of
Right.
people that
we could delegate things to do versus it's just Bob, Mike and I meeting. And, you know, and then there are, I don't get me wrong, there are about a half a dozen people that step up. Jim Saul, you're on there. He's been a huge supporter of this poker tournament from the very first one 11 years ago. He was our bartender for the first 5 years with this tournament. You know, so I'm not saying that there's not people that help. I'm just saying we need more people to help, because the bigger this thing gets, we need people to take smaller pieces of the tournament and handle that.
Yeah, and I don't think the whole key to that
I'm
is
open
just
to
giving people the opportunity to volunteer. I mean, or maybe going a little step farther and asking them individually, will you do this? And what we can do that. I think we can get volunteers. We'll be able to.
All right. You get volunteers, let's do a Zoom meeting.
Great. Okay.
Hey, guys, I gotta get going here. I got a customer been waiting for me for about 10 minutes here.
Okay, Mike. Well, thanks a lot,
See,
Mike.
Mike, I think Mike and I are pretty much done. We got our jobs.
Yeah, we're set. Thanks very much again
All
for
right.
joining us, and we'll look forward to doing this again. So Tony and Mike, I appreciate you being with us. You can sign off if you'd like.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you very much. Now, for the rest of the board, if anybody else has anything else that we need to discuss before we end this call, can you give me a heads up? You think?
David, I would suggest you, if you want to take charge of setting up the meetings, maybe we can have it over lunchtime every Tuesday.
Yeah.
That shouldn't interfere with anything else that we're doing.
All right. I always suggest that and see if we can do that. So from between now and the tournament, have a regular meeting of the.
Yeah, that's a little tough for me,
Yeah, well,
but that's fine. You get, that's just me.
yeah.
I can read the minutes.
Yeah, you read the minutes, and if you have to join by telephone or whatever, just listen in. You can do that. I mean, Jim
Yeah.
Saul's doing it from his car, so we can we can do it. We can figure out ways to do things if we need to. So, okay. Well, thanks everybody for joining us today. Again, if anyone else has anything else we need to discuss before we adjourn, it's a little over an hour that we've been on the line here. So, okay. If not, I would like to thank everybody again for joining this meeting, and we'll call it adjourned until next meeting will be